Hello everyone, Derek's Damn Toys, and we are back with a duo action figure review today. We've got the Unmatched Series 8, House of Black, we've got Brody King, we've got Buddy Matthews. Super excited to get these figures all reviewed up for you guys. Looking at the bullshit on the packaging and stuff of that nature. Always love the way they do their packaging. I do kind of prefer Mattel's a little bit more because it's a tad bit easier, in my opinion, to open up Mattel figures than it is AEW. But yeah, kind of standard packaging. Obviously, it's one of the main series. You're not getting something too fancy, I guess you could say. Of course, looking at all the figures on the back of the box here. Still need the Punk, still need the Penta, but you know what? We're almost there. We almost have this whole wave. You know, just throwing the little Malachian suit up in there. Packaging, like I said, pretty standard. Of course, it is the main line. But why don't we get these bad boys busted out and get them out of their plastic prison now, shall we? Alrighty, now that we've got both men out of the packaging, don't know why I threw the Buddy Matthews packaging off to the side here, didn't even bother to try to fold it back up, so same treatment for Brody King. Anywho, getting into the accessories now that we've got both men out of their plastic prisons. Both men come with their very own unique but not so unique, I guess you could say, entrance jackets. Yeah, they're definitely unique, but they've both got these nice skull, rib cage and spine patterns. I love the way Buddy Matthews jacket looks, because personally to me this almost kind of reminds me of something out of Prototype. I don't know, either Prototype or maybe kind of like a Venom symbiote, but maybe the bones are sticking out. It's just creepy looking. It's cool. I love it. Something we don't normally do. Taking a look at Brody King's jacket too. Pretty much like the same concept, though his is a lot more smooth flowing, and the bones themselves are just I'd say they're a lot more natural looking as compared to this, where it's rough and jagged. You can tell just by the texture itself on the cloth. Of course, both men do come with a set of fist hands. Brody King's fist hands actually have the wrist tape on them on both sets of hands, because he does, of course, come with a set of slappy hands. Same thing with Buddy Matthews. Don't know why they don't come with a set of grappling or maybe mic holding hands. Beats me, but not complaining too much, because realistically I feel like I have hands for both of these men that should work. So not the biggest ordeal for me, but worst case scenario might be the biggest ordeal for you, so keep that in mind. Of course, Buddy Matthews has one hand that's non-wrist tape, and then he has one hand that is wrist tape. I will say, just be in mind of this as well. The Buddy Matthews fist hand is just normal paint. Both hands are very hard to pose around. We'll say that. But then the hand that's on the Buddy Matthews has the tape sculpt. Brody King doesn't have to deal with that. Both sets of hands have the appropriate mold on them. So I'd say this Brody King is definitely taking the cake here, at least as far as accessories are going. Of course, we've got the nice little entrance mask as well. I definitely like the way Buddy Matthews' entrance mask looks. I just love the antlers look with the mask almost looking like it has a oh no, that's not a dragon. I almost thought that was a dragon for a second, but it's got waves on the mask. The one eye's painted. this has got really cool sculpts in it. And to be honest with you, just kind of checking it out real quick because I'm actually kind of curious now. It is almost the exact same, if not probably the exact same head scan that's on here, just with the mask like glued over it or whatever. And I mean, there's definitely that potential that you could have taken this mask off at one point, but obviously definitely way better just sculpted on as a separate head, in my opinion. I don't know why I set that down, but the antlers themselves, if you are curious, they are made out of a nice soft plastic, so they do kind of bend a little bit. Keep that in mind. The antler at the bottom here, definitely a bit more like harder compared to the rest of them. But yeah, you can literally like touch the tips of them. Just the tip. Anyway, now that my little episode there is done, we can take a look at the Brody King mask. And of course, I do like the differences in the fact that Brody King also does wear like the bandana over his face with the mask itself as well. You've got the nice white skull with the gray details in there. You can see his eyes through the back, something I didn't necessarily mention. You could see the eyes through the back of the Buddy Matthews, but you can also see his mouth partially, as where with this one, because the bandana's over his mouth, it leads to a little bit more like in conception, like, is this a completely different head scan compared to what's on the Brody King? Or was this like the same exact head scan? I don't know exactly what I said before. I got lost in my train of thought. Of course, just kind of like the Buddy Matthews, the horns and stuff like that are fairly soft material. So I definitely would be careful with how you go about playing around with these head scans, because the antlers could definitely fall off. I could see that. Of course, looking a little bit more into the bandana itself, it looks like it has the House of Black logo on it with barbed wire. That's gold and silver? Yeah, all I can say is badass alternative head scans for both men. Definitely got a lot of nice things as far as the accessories are going. If you're gonna just take one figure each though, definitely would say an extra set of hands that were like mic holding or grappling hands would definitely help these two out a little bit more. But with that being said, which one we gonna take first? Let's review the Buddy Matthews first, because Brody King's got so much about him that's gonna take me a minute to go over. So I feel like going over Buddy Matthews first and foremost will definitely be nice. Of course, I'm definitely digging the head scan. I personally think this looks a little bit more like Matthews than the WWE head scan did. Not that that one was bad, but I feel like this one's just a tad bit more accurate. I don't know, maybe it could be me, maybe your opinion's different, that's what they're for. Of course, we've got the white wrist tape, herbal hand tape leading to wrist tape that leads to the black elbow pad. We've got just white wrist tape on the other side. We've got his unique shorts mold with the nice, like, actually molded on crotch piece there. That's not like just painted on, that's actually fully sculpted and molded to it. Got the House of Black logo on the pocket, Matthews on the side of the leg there. Rest of it's just mainly all black, besides the little bit of silver here on the buckles and stuff of that nature. You got the cuts and stuff like that at the bottom of the shorts, because he's not your average guy. You've got the knee pads, which that's actually kind of weird that there's a hole in the side of the knee pad. but not in the back of the knee pad, which, I mean, I'm not necessarily complaining. It is on both sides if you're curious. But if it does help the knee pads like bend better and stuff of that nature, I can't say I'm complaining too much, but I don't know if that really helps it more or if the hindrance is still there. But I'd say that leg can get some pretty good posability up in there. Maybe it's hindered a little bit. I don't know exactly. Of course, as far as kicks forward and stuff of that nature, without the bend up in there, he doesn't really kick out that well, in my opinion. He probably can do a better super kick, though. Wouldn't deny that, which definitely is the case. So his legs, maybe not the best, but so far I'm not complaining too much. He's got kick pad rotation, so he's already better than most Frankie Kazarian figures. Too bad we'll never see any more of him come out in the line. He's got a really insane ab crunch. Like, look at that. Mans can break his spine on the top rope, and it's actually just posing like that. I don't think guys... Oh, there's a little bit of stress and stuff of that nature. But I can't say I'm complaining too much there. Of course, the arms and stuff, they articulate pretty damn good. And on top of that, my only real complaint about this figure so far, besides the legs, is the fact that you can definitely tell this wrist like tape here was just painted underneath the black sleeve. Kind of a little weak point there. Could have just given us an elbow pad and made that look a bit better like the other side. But yeah, that's whatever. I'm not complaining too much there, but at least you guys can hear my opinions on that. One thing else before I go to, I do love the feeling of the kick in the knee pads here. Got the nice uniqueness to those as well. I don't know if you guys noticed that before I mentioned anything about it, but yeah, I'd say the Buddy Matthews poses around really nice. Can't complain too much there. But now getting into this Brody King. And god dang, is this figure really cool to see in person finally. Seeing all the shots, seeing the new Blood and Guts ringside exclusive that's going on with this. Man, oh man. Of course, he's also the chase or the rare figure in the set. He's got an alternative edition out there, so for those of you who want to collect all the figures in the wave, including stuff like that, keep that in mind. He is the 1 in 5,000 chase figure. Don't know exactly how that works, but so far I'm digging it. Definitely posing around fairly decent. The one arm's moving buttery smooth. That arm though was not. But hopefully it's not too stiff in the future. I can't really speak right now. Sorry about that. I'm just very amazed with this. Just because of all the tattoo detail and stuff of that nature. I only can hope and pray I can become as tatted as this man is currently. Same thing with Malachi. Malachi's got a lot of tattoos as well. Not that you can see it under his suit, but he's got a lot of tattoos there. And you know, for someone my age, I'm not going to reveal it, but someone my age, I do have quite a bit of tattoos myself. Let's be quite frank. I've wasted a lot more money on tattoos and action figures than I'd probably care to admit. But he's just got so much nice tattoo detail here between the rib cage, the legs, the lower legs, because he's got tattoo detail down here underneath the knee pads and stuff. Got the tattoo details up here on the upper legs, on the stomach, on the back. the upper shoulder area. You got the whole arms just being covered essentially. Like, he's even got his inner bicep done. Dude, he's got so much tattoo detail, even including his throat tattoo. Oh, I didn't know I could zoom in mid-video. That's strange. Anyways, doesn't look as good. Now it looks way better. Yeah. I don't know. I'm already digging this Brody King, just purely based off of the feeling of it. Definitely got some better posability than the Buddy Matthews here. Man, I can see Brody King becoming a juggernaut force in the pick fed. I also love the flame details on the boots. Kind of gives me like Bam Bam Bigelow. Bigelow. God damn, I really can't fucking speak right now. Gives me Bam Bam Bigelow vibes. And for someone who likes going back and watching some of the ECW stuff, let alone just sometimes classic wrestling in general, but for me, I like the hardcore scene of Shish. I went to a GCW show not all that long ago with one of my good long buddies. Actually known him since my childhood, so kind of a interesting scenario there. Was our first wrestling show as a little friend group, and what can I say other than it was quite an experience. Of course, I could see these guys working like really well in that kind of era too, but that now I'm just getting very far off the topic. Why don't we get these guys all posed up with maybe some of their accessories and shish like that on, and we'll just give our final thoughts, yeah? Well, I've got you boys all posed up. Got the entrance mask on, the entrance garments on, or jackets, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't really care. Yeah, it's just like the unboxing video. I'm being a little bit vulgar. Gotta throw out a good couple of F-bombs out every now and again throughout the day. I really almost thought the Malachi was just about to ruin that. Of course, I put my hand right here on the turnbuckle and the dumb fuck starts to fall. Jesus. Trying to fix it. His legs are just so fucking loose. I don't know if I'll ever use this for the Fed, really. Like, maybe for backstage promos or whatever, but his legs just are so loose, you tap on something hard enough, he might fall. You kind of just had realistic proof of it there. I don't know, I kind of want to test it out now. Anyway, before this video gets any longer than it realistically needs to be, what would be my final thoughts on these two? Well, as far as the Buddy Matthews goes, for instance, of course, these two men have about the same amount of accessories. So, realistically, accessories-wise, I think they both lack just a little too much for how much they do ultimately cost at the end of the day. Now, I say that because, of course, if you find them up in the store, don't mind me, I kind of noticed my arena's a little off, probably while I was recording for the Fed earlier. Anywho, though, as far as the accessories go, I'd say both men definitely lack a little bit, especially for their price point. Of course, if you pay retail price, you've got the option of getting both of these men for about $20-ish. I say 20-ish because realistically, of course, it is going to be about 40, like 5 something probably, after taxes and stuff of that nature, depending on where you live. Sorry for the little, the little zoom in shots like that. As you kind of notice, I'm trying to fix up the arena a little bit before I start fedding for the next match, potentially. As far as posability, though, does go, The Buddy Matthews is pretty alright. I think there's a little bit to be desired there in the legs, but everything else poses around fairly nice. I also wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a better knee pad mold, I guess. Like, it's still really nice, looks really cool, you know, but I don't know. I just don't exactly know how to feel about the Buddy Matthews all around. But the Brody King, though. Brody King looks like he's going to be able to pose with the best of them. And that excites me, because a lot of the big men do not pose very well when it comes to AEW figures. I'm not saying this as an example, but the Keith Lee, for instance, he does pose around fairly nice, but he's kind of got like a similar issue to Buddy Matthews, I'd say, where he doesn't pose around very well in the legs department, but like once you bend him over, it's not as bad if you think about it. Like, he still poses around pretty well for a big guy on the AEW stature. Wardlow is probably the first big guy you tend to think about when it comes to figures posing around fairly well for the big men. I'd say if anything, he just lacks a little bit in like the ab crunch department. His legs actually help him out there. But yeah, I think this Brody King, not just on ab crunch but on leg use as well, will be a very, very flexible asset to the pick fed. And with that being in mind, you know, what would I rate these two on a scale of 1 to 10? The Buddy Matthews, I'm going to give him a good solid 6.5. I don't... Maybe he could pull off a 7 if he at least came with a couple extra hands, I feel. And as far as the Brody King goes, we gave him a 6.5. You can only imagine what I'm about to give him, right? This is almost a damn near perfect AEW figure, I feel. Maybe over time my opinion will change, but fresh out the plastic prison with that new figure smell, gotta give him a good solid 8.5. I'd give him a good solid 9. Maybe even a 9.5. Could have almost had a 9.8, but a little bit more accessories wouldn't have hurt. Now, of course, we did get Penta Oscuro Miero, or whatever the Penta Oscuro, whatever the Pentagon Dark gimmick was. And his sculpts and stuff like that, yeah, they were cool. It was nice to see them in the line, but at the end of the day, I'm hearing that figure isn't really posing around all that well. He may be more of a shelf display piece at the end of the day. Unlike these figures where you can probably get some good pick fed shots out of them. I don't know, I don't have the Pentagon Dark, but you can definitely tell where a lot of their budget did go, and it was into these guys' accessories, let alone the Penta, let alone the CM Punk. If they tried to add in anything extra to any one of these figures, they probably would have broke budget. And with that being said, probably could have just gone without the Pentagon Dark and maybe could have used a different figure or something in this wave. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But as far as the case may be, that's what I'm going to say about these two figgies. Now, with that being said, I think it's time to get out of here so we can finally bust open the Jazzware Vault box. You know, stay tuned for what I got up in there. Maybe it's a Malachi. Maybe it's a Danhausen. Maybe it's a Kenny Omega. I highly doubt it's one of those guys, just because the figure box is quite small. But it'd be quite interesting if it was like a bunch of the ROH figures now, wouldn't it? Anywho, so with that being said, feel free to like the video if you liked the video. If you didn't, womp womp, I guess. Doesn't really affect me too much, but if you did like the video, feel free to check out some of my other action figure reviews and or unboxing videos and or pig fed videos. We've got a bunch of different videos you can go check out on the channel, including a collection video. Now, mind you, I'm thinking about maybe redoing that. So, just kind of like with the last video where I was saying stuff about the pick fed, feel free to let me know in the comment section below on that as well. But, maybe here, would you guys like to see me bust out my collection of figures again? Of course, I'm not going to really take too many figs out of the crowd. If anything, I'm sure you'll kind of get a good, nice little glance out of there. Like, I'll probably go up in here and I'll be like, look, I got the ringside exclusive, the Liz Chris Jericho. We've got WrestleMania 29 CM Punk with head scan swap. If that's really necessary, I'm sure some of you do, some of you don't care. Maybe you do, and if you do, let me know. Would you like to see like an update to that video? I don't know, just kind of a thought that's been in the back of my head, just kind of like maybe making like a pick fed related video where I just kind of talk about different things about the fed. Maybe you guys could ask me a bunch of questions and I'll make it kind of like a Q&A there. Because there's been plenty of eyes that have seen the pick fed. Just gotta get maybe some questions out of it, like maybe if you guys want to ask me what's my thought process when it comes to certain matches that I'm doing and or certain lengths of episodes and stuff of that nature. I don't know. Anywho, on that note though, if you guys would like to, feel free to subscribe. After all, it is free to subscribe. I've rambled on long enough. I don't give a shit about my Instagram though. If you would like to, feel free to follow that as well. And yeah, on that note, have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I don't know because I'm not in your time zone. And if I am, man, I feel bad for you. But with that being said, it is almost midnight where I am at. So, you can tell I'm probably fairly tired. Should be a fairly fun night ahead of me just because of the Jazzware Vault box, baby. But on that note, have a good rest of your night. I'll shut the fuck up now. Deuces, ooses, pink.